Hello, everybody. What's going on? Name is Joseph. I'm going to be your low budget host of the day. And today we're going to be doing a news video. And because I have a lot of work to do this weekend, I'm going to, regarding school that is, I'm going to do this video today while I've got some time. And, well, let's just get into it. Please remember to like, share, subscribe to this channel. And please share this video. YouTube likes participation. Thank you. So the topic of the day is going to be weather. I figured I'd do some comparing and contrasting between the official meteorological predictions for fall versus what the Farmer's Almanac is saying for fall. And so far this year, it's been very dry. Obviously, for at least my part of the country, it's been really dry. We've been dealing with a lot of heat and droughts. I know south of where I live, it's been a lot worse heat wise, and I got some good news for you guys. It is going to start cooling off, but according to AccuWeather, it won't be cooling off as much as the Farmer's Almanac is saying. So here's what AccuWeather has to say about autumn. Meteorological autumn officially kicks off on Thursday, September 1st, and continues through Wednesday, November 30th. Now, when we say meteorological autumn, we mean basically the weather that you would associate with fall usually starts a little earlier than the actual equinox does. So the actual autumnal equinox, is going to take place 9:03 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on Thursday, September 22nd. It's usually when the equinox takes place. That is when the sun is right above the equator. And so yeah, let's just go see what AccuWeather has to say versus what Farmer's Almanacs have to say. So here's what one of AccuWeather's meteorologists had to say. With pretty good confidence this year, Pastelok said, I think it's a mild fall, setting up overall for the U.S. Warmth will dominate the forecast from Connecticut to California, but AccuWeather forecasters break down what else the season may entail, weighing in on rainfall will be a frequent visitor, and which areas may face tropical threats. Now, the hurricane threat is the thing that I think is very funny because literally this entire summer, meteorologists from Weather Channel, from National Weather Service, everybody's been harping on how bad hurricane season was going to be for 2022 during the summer. So far, we've had zero, not zero, but we've had at least one named storm that I can remember. And I'm not sure if it was a named storm or not, but in the Gulf. So I don't get why these people are still trying to harp on the fact that hurricane season may get bad. I mean, hurricane season does typically get bad August into September. We haven't seen any Atlantic action yet. Now we have started seeing some tropical action up in the off the west coast of Africa. That's usually where a lot of hurricanes tend to generate from. But yeah, it's mostly just been a very bland year in terms of Atlantic hurricanes. Now, Pacific hurricanes and typhoon season has been pretty active, I will say that, but usually the Eastern Pacific's pretty active off the this is confusing, off the west coast of Mexico. They've been having a lot of hurricane action, so that is something that can happen, but for the most part it's just been pretty dull. But let's see what AccuWeather has to say about this. So AccuWeather states, the weather pattern in the southeast will be influenced by several factors this autumn, including the unusually warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico and a significant climate pattern unfolding thousands of miles away. For the third year in a row, La Nina will be one of the dominant factors in the global weather pattern. La Nina is basically when the Pacific is cooler than normal. There's a so when the Eastern Pacific is cooler than normal, that usually means that there's a whole lot less moisture for our part of the continent. It's usually when we have really bad droughts, but it also means that there's more moisture for places like Australia. That's what La Nina essentially entails. Um, but anyway, AccuWeather continues. We do expect La Nina actually to strengthen a little bit during the latter part of the peak of the tropical season, meaning mid-fall, and it could have some impacts as far as tropical season, Pastelok explained. Typically, La Nina favors tropical activity across the Atlantic basin, which will lead to higher threat of landfalling tropical systems this autumn. Again, where is the proof of that? Because this year we were supposed to have a lot more hurricane action. I'm glad we haven't had a lot of hurricane action because we have enough crap going on right now with our country as it is. Hurricanes would just compound everything that's going on. But on the other hand, they keep making these long-winded prediction or these really really dramatic predictions. They're based kind of off of their climate change agenda that usually get disproven. I think I recall a couple years ago, AccuWeather had an article where they were talking about how there were going to be more tornadoes, it was the 2020 season, more tornadoes in the 2020 season, and they were right because there were a whole lot more tornadoes, but they got laughed out of the room because it was a very Farmer's Almanac-ish prediction. Now, obviously, AccuWeather is doing the same thing with hurricanes, and we haven't really seen signs of that yet. I also want to dispute something else. So, they keep mentioning that La Nina is going to strengthen this fall, and the only problem I have with that statement is one, how do you actually know that? And two, again, where's the proof of that? Because Texas just actually got one of the biggest floods we've seen in a long time. I mean, Dallas got flooded out. Fort Worth got flooded out. We didn't get as much of rain as we probably could have gotten, which I'm kind of glad we didn't because we really don't need flooding rain. We just need slow rainfall, which we're gonna get this weekend. So that's the good part. Um, but again, I feel like La Nina is starting to break. If we're starting to see some rain, even if it isn't enough to break the drought, it's still rain. So yeah, I'm just saying it's kind of funny that they're predicting this, but they're also doing this with temperature forecasts. So let's get into that. So regarding temperatures in the south southwest and up to the high plains, this is what AccuWeather has to say. The extended drought will be accompanied by lingering heat across most of the central U.S. Yes, we're still in the drought, and it is going to continue throughout the fall. I also saw a prediction on, I think it's Texas Storm Chasers Facebook page that basically said the fire season is going to restart again up where I live, which in October, which given how much wind we typically get around about this time of year, I do actually believe them. So that is going to be a problem. And because we've seen rain, we've also seen a lot of growth that people have not bothered to actually mow. So that could potentially impact fires. But anyway, I'll continue. Energy demand will remain elevated through September across Texas, with more triple-digit temperatures possible in Dallas, San Antonio, Austin. Yes, this part I do mildly agree with. And the only reason I say mildly is because up here, the highest we've gotten so far that I've seen in our forecast is lower 90s, which isn't that unusual this time of year. We typically have like weird bouts of heat as late as October, so that's not that surprising up here. But it's the lows that we've been seeing though makes me think that part of this forecast may not be entirely accurate. But we'll continue. Persistent warmth across the nation's heartland will delay the first frost potentially by weeks across much of the region. Again, I mildly agree, mildly disagree. And the reason I say mildly agree is yes, we are going to see a delayed frost. I don't, we usually, up here, we typically get our frosts around October 15th, a little later than October 15th sometimes, so that's not that unusual. They usually say we're supposed to start getting our first frost in early October, but that has yet to happen. We've seen it maybe twice happen, but just it stays too warm up here for us to get frosts as early October. That being said, we have started seeing lows in the upper 50s already, and it's not even the end of August yet. I mean, it's close to the end of August, but we start seeing lows in the lower 50s or upper 50s. So I'm half expecting us to start seeing lows in the 40s by mid-September, maybe. So we'll see what happens there. Obviously, things can change. I could be entirely wrong, and these guys could be entirely right. We'll see, but judging by how cool it's been, at least in the higher elevations, I'm already skeptical. And speaking of coolness, let's talk about when they think snow is going to happen. So AccuWeather writes, Farther south in the Sierra, it could be a slow start for resorts that rely on natural snow. I think they'll get on the normal pace, not the early pace that they saw the last couple of years, Pastelek said. Snow should arrive in the higher elevations of the Rockies by mid autumn. However, it will not be smooth sailing after the season's first flakes, as warm weather could limit the accumulation at the base of mountains until November. Alright, the last paragraph already got disputed, and I can say that because a couple days ago, up on Pikes Peak, so 14,000 feet above sea level, they got their first snow. It wasn't a whole lot, it's like a trace of snow, not anything serious, or at least to them what a trace is. It's probably like an inch if I had to guess, but I can already say this part of the paragraph was definitely a little inaccurate. So, sorry, AccuWeather, you got that part wrong. Now, they might be correct in the sense that we may not see another snow bout until probably October, but um, I've been watching the radar up in Alaska, and they're already starting to see some flakes in the mountains in the volcanic mountain ranges near Anchorage and near um, I guess Juneau, I think is the city that's kind of on the it's their capital city. But anyways, um, they've already started seeing snow up in those mountains. There's also been snow and sleet up in Iceland. I know that's not exactly the North American continent, but I'm just saying parts of this I agree with, and there are parts of this where I don't. I do agree with the idea that lower elevations probably won't start seeing freezing temps until November. So just because that's usually how it goes with drought years, we don't typically get that cold until after Halloween. But again, drought years also present some of the most unusual weather extremes. So while we're at it, let's juxtapose this article with the Farmer's Almanac and see what their prediction for fall is. So, Farmer's Almanac, right off the gate regarding snow, states scary movies, costumes, and things that go bump in the night won't be the only things chilling this Halloween. An unusually early, heavy fall of snow could hit the northern Rockies and plains in late October. Yep, and they actually do mention snowstorms hitting the Pacific Northwest and Montana in the AccuWeather article, so that's not too much of a difference there. What is major difference is, of course, they mentioned the northern plains, so that includes North Dakota, South Dakota, parts of northern Nebraska. It includes them as well. I think if I more likely to actually believe this forecast only because that's pretty typical of what we see in late October is you start seeing some of the first snowflakes in those regions right about that time of year. Plus, they're far enough north that they'll start seeing freezing temperatures probably um, well before, well before we will. I'll just say that. So, let's continue, shall we? Regarding moisture, above normal precipitation is forecasted for a wide swath of the central part of the country, including the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, Midwest, as well as the Rockies and Great Plains. So, obviously, they're they're saying it's going to be a little bit cooler on the. They have this little map, and what they show is that the states of Texas, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana are going to be chilly and wet. I mildly agree with that, mildly don't, only because of the drought, but that's okay. They're showing that it'll be cold, wet, and white. I guess that means snow for the states of Colorado, Nebraska, Missouri, Iowa, North South Dakota, Minnesota, Wyoming, and Montana. So, yeah. They also expect frosty, typical precipitation for Idaho, Washington State, and Oregon. So, Pacific Northwest. Cool, decent precipitation for the states of Arizona, Utah, Nevada, and California. And then, of course, cold and rainy for the upper Midwest. Weather. Average precipitation for the southeast. Frigid fall. Also snowy for the northeast. And I think a happy medium ground between the AccuWeather and the Farmer's Almanac is probably where we need to go. I do believe we are going to still be pretty dry for fall. I do not, however, think that we're going to be warm. or at least we're not going to be warm in higher elevations. We've already started seeing the higher elevations, like up in Creede, Colorado, for a great example. The other day it was in the 30s. So I do believe that higher elevations, even in places where the highest elevation, like in our states, above 4,000 feet above sea level, are going to start cooling off a little earlier than others. I do believe the lower elevations will stay relatively warm. We're starting to see that the next couple of weeks. And of course, as always, I do believe that moisture supply is probably not going to be very big. We are going to start seeing snow showers up in the northern parts of the country. That's pretty typical for fall. Um, and yeah, that's about all I have for my prediction of fall. Uh, Thank you all for watching, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the school year and enjoy the fall. Thank you for watching. Bye.